here. I used to be a teacher. I taught elementary and high school art, fine art, but I'm so glad to be back among my people. So today we are going to do a conversation about multimedia in the classroom, obviously an area of passion for Wevideo, but we know also for a lot of the teachers that we have relationships with, and we're excited to be able to share that with you guys today. The few things before we kind of get started, besides our great panel, which I will introduce in just a second, we have audio recordings going on, as well as a live stream to Teacher Goals. So just wanted to make you guys aware of how we are capturing this great event. And then we will be doing a few topical questions around multimedia. We're going to give the panelists an opportunity to respond, but we'd love to get you guys involved as well. So if you have, questions or your own experiences that you want to share about related to the topics that we're going to talk about, we have a mic that we can invite you to kind of join the conversation. That's why it's a roundtable. I will ask people to think about their responses and the questions they have. Keep your comments brief so we can include as many people as possible. We're really only going to do this for about 45 minutes because we want enough time to enjoy a little bit more jazz music before we're out of here around 8 o'clock. So I would like to introduce our amazing panel. First here to my right, we have Erica Sandstrom. Also known as Green Screen Gal and a good friend of mine. Yes. 31 years as a veteran teacher, digital learning coach, and digital media instructor. Obviously well known in the media space, and we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here.
Okay, next, I gotta go down on my list because I didn't put it in order of how you guys are gonna sit. Amanda Fox, so excited to have you here. Chief Content Officer for Teacher Goals, which is how we have this great relationship with Teacher Goals and streaming. So thank you so much for that. Former teacher and author, 2016 ISTE Emerging Leader Award, which is so amazing. It's so great to have these connections with ISTE. And really focus on kind of story-centered learning, and we're excited to have you as part of the panel. Thank you. All right. Next, we got Jessica Pack. And, Georgia, I meant to ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Okay, this is Jessica.
Georgia, I'm sorry. Yeah, Georgia. Sorry. Terlahi. Did I get it right?
You did.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we've got Georgia and Jessica. They have an amazing podcast called Storytelling Saves the World. We're so excited to have you guys here. Both are super passionate about storytelling and through stories and how they can help instruction in the classroom. Both of them are ISTE community leaders with years of great teaching experience. 17 years in middle school, Jessica, is that right? 18. Oh my God. You should get an extra award for that. And 33 years as a teacher for you. Wow. See, I need to update my bios. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. One more welcome for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we get started, I just want to kind of start at the beginning, which is, how is multimedia being used today in the classroom? And maybe I can start with you, Jessica and Georgia, with that. Pass the mic to you guys.
I think multimedia in the classroom has been a huge way to have a pathway to UDL, a pathway to culturally relevant instruction, and a pathway for continued social emotional learning or mindfulness in the classroom. In the post-pandemic landscape, it's still really important that we're serving all of the needs of our kiddos. And I think movie making is a really unique modality to be able to express content understanding while also helping our students become better people and the best versions of themselves. So for us, movie making has really created a compelling learning experience that anchors kids in the school environment and makes them want to come to school. So, movie making can be done in content areas outside of just a dedicated media space, and that's what we're really passionate about.
So we hook them with the movie making because they all want to be content creators, and then we secretly put in the secret ninja sauce of now we're doing curriculum assessment, and they don't even know it. So it's very effective, and they're very engaged.
It's changed a lot. I mean,
I saw the internet get invented.
Oh,
My 7th year of teaching. Yeah. So the fact that we're all sitting up here is kind of wild because a lot of my friends, graduated. I'm not gonna say it, but it's so true. So we kind of grew with the kids, and we had to change the way we teach because the kids have changed. Their brains have changed. It's we have to go where they are too. They're on TikTok, so learn how to do video production as part of your curriculum. And let me tell you, that will win them over. But my favorite thing about it is the social emotional learning that happens naturally. I mean, filming's this much part of it. It's all of the planning and stuff ahead of time, and it's so cool to watch. I mean, I'll swoop in and go, I'll just teach I statements if they're arguing over, which prop to use or whatever like that. But yeah, it's super powerful, and I just wish that more teachers would get on board, and that's why we all do what we do. And you're gonna have a lot of fun yourself too.
And the big thing is you don't have to know what you're doing. So TikTok, I have not mastered TikTok. I'm like so behind. But last year I was teaching at a school and we were doing this Manifest Destiny lesson plan and they were making video games and this one kid I just didn't could buy in. They played Oregon Trail. She I would dance in her TikTok videos and interrupt them if it goes viral, you're welcome. And I asked her finally, I'm like, hey, we're gonna turn this into curricular content. Go film everyone dying of dysentery, snake bites, and fording a river. And she did the, oh no. And she made this great TikTok video of what education was like in my classroom. And from that moment forward, she's like, what can I make for you today, Sauce? So it's not about knowing the platforms that kids are on, but it's about allowing them to use those platforms to communicate what they want to, how they want to, and learning from them just as much as they're learning from us.
Thank you. How are you guys learning multimedia or using multimedia in your classroom for student learning, social emotional development, developing your curriculums? How is that coming together for you guys?
We got a mic.
Don't be scared.
Don't drop it.
Yay, yay.
Thank you, Caitlin. She's gonna help pass.
Yep. Check it out. There you go. Somebody want to do the honors?
I
Michael?
know, it's hard when you're the first one.
Oh,
We
here.
need a question, Ricky.
No.
How are you using multimedia in your curriculum, in your
I
classroom?
might be able to use my teacher voice, it's not.
I know, don't we all have teacher voices.
Can you introduce yourself too, just so?
Sure, one more 30-year educator. I use multimedia a lot for students to be able, for projects and for project-based learning, to show what they're learning, to as ESAs or those all-important elevator pitches for students. And also, it's a great way to get kids engaged in newscasts and becoming aware of their community.
Thank you. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Heather Brown. I'm a kindergarten through 5th grade math interventionist and STEAM teacher, and I like to use multimedia to get those students who normally are not math students actually engaged in math and make it fun and show them that this is a real skill that they can use. And by throwing in multimedia, they're more interested in it.
Can you give an example?
For example, I have kids make TikTok videos about sales going on. So they create their own sales for whatever store and they have to figure out the correct percentage and the starting price and then the sale price. And so it's much more engaging than just what is 30% of 50. Instead, they get to figure it out in a creative way.
That's awesome.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Hey, everybody.
Go big.
Hey.
I'm Bruce Reicher. Hey, everybody. Multimedia in my classroom. I'm lucky enough to work in a school district where we built a TV studio in our school. So for the past 15 years, the kids have done a live 10-minute show every single morning with news, sports announcements, and all of the students work in the studio, whether they're on air or behind the scenes, and it's amazing, like what they can produce. And for Erica's too, like SEL of the kids that do the best sometimes are kids that you might not expect to do the best, but this is like their thing when they get in there, to the point I teach in a 6th grade school, and the 6th grade teachers will be like, that kid did not talk in 6th grade, and now they're like doing the weather or the host or whatever it may be, and seeing with like behind the scenes. So you could do tons of things with multimedia, but I'm lucky enough to be able to do like a live TV show in my school.
Thank you, Bruce.
I gotcha.
He's a professional with the mic.
Thank you, you know.
I think that a lot of what you guys are talking about kind of leads me to question, like, how is this ultimately trending toward being more integrated into the curriculum? How does this multimedia become part of the pedagogy of the classroom? Of, actually, Georgia, you talked about assessment. Like, how has it been successful for you guys to have those conversations either with your, co-teachers or with your district leaders to make that become more and more true?
This is a fun question. Because I get asked that a lot, because a lot of times I'll walk in when we're running from a dinosaur and I'm like, you don't understand, we just did a science project on the layers of the earth over there. And, I always teach them to do something fun first and help them fall in love with the programs, whatever program they're using. And teachers too, there's a lot of fear. So that's why we do, if you watch my Twitter, we do a lot of silly things, but that's to get them to get over the fear, have some fun, promote joy for them and move forward. But for example, we do a lot of stop motion animation because that to me, with video of them making it of the water cycle or, the life cycle of a butterfly, they're going to remember it. If you've ever done stop motion, it's extremely tedious and they can turn that into video. That's just one of many examples. And I also am very big on the kids behind the camera are just as important as the kids in front of it. So it's not about it being on camera, but if they are on camera and they're shy, talking on camera is not actually good video production per se, but they could use voiceovers or point to a speech bubble and then use a voiceover. And it's just very, very powerful, but we can hit every subject with this. So your turn.
So stakeholders. I helped start the STEM Academy in 2013 in Savannah, Georgia, and I taught history. I flipped my classroom. I did a great job of it. I started a after-school program that had video broadcasting, journalism, and the morning news, and I had 60 kids come out to audition for that. I couldn't have all of them on, and there was such a demand the following year that we actually made it an entire class. So I got a raise this promotion, and I had to create 3 times another curriculum, and I taught 6th to 8th grade. And what I did, instead of just building a morning news show or a morning news class, is I looked at every stakeholder, the school, the parents, the kids, the community leaders, and I created the STEM Film Festival. And at our school, we taught in an interdisciplinary way. We had grand engineering challenges that students would solve. And when you have a class dedicated to video production and they learn those skills, it makes my heart happy when I see them go into these other classes and they use that as the vehicle to communicate what they know. And it was just an amazing thing because every single student that had my film class, they were making videos on grand engineering challenges, on solving problems with urban infrastructure, the transportation system, grading, looking at grades in Georgia and creating what if we had a magnet train going into the science of it and using tools like Wevideo, because Wevideo has this amazing collaborative online platform where even when they go home, they were still at home editing and talking. They're on phone calls while they're editing and talking and FaceTiming and creating this amazing content. And once I had content that I could show community stakeholders like Focus Lab or this engineering company, and I'm like, hey, we're a school here, we're real, these kids have futures, and we need your help. They came in and they funded it and provided scholarships for their students to where that showcase didn't end in our school, but it went to the Jepson Museum in downtown Savannah. They red carpeted it. catered it and never celebrated. So it's thinking outside of your school. It's looking at people who can help, who want to help, who want to be asked to help, and bringing them into that and letting them be part of that narrative.
That's good. That's awesome.
Well, and I think you can also, I mean, I like the big picture like that, but you can also not be afraid to start small. Like you had said, after school club, or just be that teacher that's not afraid to try something and fail along with your kids. And there's kind of, we like to call it like digital storytelling evangelism. Like once it starts, it spreads and people want to be a part of it. So you get some, you know, maybe educators in your building that are siloed and see what's going on and the kids are excited and they're like, how can I be a part of that? And it's kind of a way to build it so that you can then go out into the community. And our district has been really great about K-12. We've had film festivals, we've had elementary film festivals and secondary film festivals and promote it citywide. We have Palm Springs International Film Festival is in Palm Springs where we're from. We have short festivals, so we have a lot of ways to connect with that as well. But I love that because there's so many ways to start and then really the sky's the limit.
Well, and I think it's a matter of helping other educators understand that this is not just one more thing. This is not something that you kind of like tack on and we're like, oh, by the way, we also want you to do digital storytelling. It's really the pathway to do so many of the other initiatives that are already in play. So it's helping other teachers understand what storytelling can do for students, the impact it has on their learning. And then it's helping like building administrators and sort of the ivory tower folks understand that we need professional development that accompanies it. Systematic professional development that's run by other teachers so that we're able to, you know, sort of do the storytelling, creativity, evangelism thing that Georgia was talking about and loop others into the success that our students are having, which does require being public about the success and the failures so that nobody is looking at it as an exclusive activity only certain teachers and certain kids can do, but it's storytelling for all. And that's really what we're striving for.
Thank you. That's amazing. I think, you know, really impacting change is really, really hard. I'm curious if any of you have had, you know, small or big opportunities to really impact the curriculum at your school districts, particularly through multimedia and incorporating that into your curriculums.
We can keep that one. Yeah, she's right back there.
You've got lots of support.
You can got lots of you got lots of support. Thank you. And please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Megan. One of my favorite elements of multimedia to introduce my students is through NPR. Actually does a lot of public media stuff that's free for educators that a lot of educators actually don't know about, which is really cool. And honestly, I would download those videos to Wevideo and so that my students could access it easier because with all the limitations sometimes of what the kind of the bureaucracy of education and what we're given, we're not able to do that. But giving kids videos of what a lot of these elements and a lot of these pieces present was really meaningful. And specifically, I taught history, and so NPR was actually really helpful. And your various public media organizations have a lot of access to videos and stuff on different documents that are released that are free for quote unquote free for educators. And I like how we all nod and say free for educators, and we're like, you know what that means. But that was probably one of the most meaningful elements for me.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You have absolutely asked the right question.
Can we
And
get some snacks?
Good.
Thank you.
because that question is why education didn't change after COVID came back. I mean, we came back from COVID.
Yes.
Part of it is state standards issues because it doesn't list multimedia or video making as a publishable text. So when administrators are unpacking the standards with their teachers, when they see a published text, they are looking at writing only. They don't have the broadened sense of what a text is for the world that our students are in. I spent 30 years batting my head against the wall of trying to make change. And when I started teaching the regular classroom, I moved to a specialist position so I could affect more kids, trying to get the kids to push the teachers into allowing them to do other things in their classrooms. And it worked to a small degree. But until we can move the ivory tower and the principals that so many of them are not lifelong learners, they are fixed at what they know and they're comfortable doing that. This whole change, unless the standards incorporate the type of learning we're wanting to do, nothing in education is going to move.
Remind me your name one more time.
One more.
Gwen, thank you so much. I think it is it's inextricably linked, the successes and the challenges, right? I mean, it's how you overcome those that really makes progress. I think both, what Gwen and Megan said kind of leads to where I wanted to go, which is, so what are some of the challenges that you guys have been facing that you think, sharing those experiences here could help everybody overcome a little bit more easily in their own schools and in their own districts? You want to start, Megan? Amanda, you want to start?
So challenges in districts.
Or challenges with incorporating multimedia.
So the best place to start is in your classroom. Like it's not a top-down thing, it is a top-up. And we have to infect the school with video. When we infect the kids with passion and creativity, and we give them voice, and they're going to do it everywhere. It is a transformative thing that they will take into every domain, across the domain. If it is a film class, if it's in your English class, in my social studies class. When I flipped my classroom, I started small with me making videos. My kids saw that, and that's how they communicated their knowledge. They started making videos back to me with their reports, with their history lessons. And it did. It spilled over to all content areas. They're making videos in science. They're making videos in math class even. I taught course perspective photography, and they ended up taking that and making this whole mathematical concept video and showing how it works, and brought in the Hobbit and like how Gandalf was so big, and it's just really cool to start small and to plant that seed and to watch it grow and infect all the other classrooms in your school. And then from there, 3 years later, the students that we taught, like when we're teaching them multimedia, when we're teaching them film, we're teaching them multiple angles, and we're teaching them how the importance of a Superman shot, like it's metaphorical, a bridging shot, showing time, an arc shot, like showing chaos, or whatever, how we're framing it. When they understand that there is power in the way they frame a perspective, they are empowered, and it's just that's how you just start with what you can do, let it grow. 3 years later, Savannah Arts Academy had to recreate their entire curriculum because my kids went in knowing all the content that was taught in ninth grade, and that was the coolest thing for me to see the kids grow, to see them ascend, and see them not just whatever knowledge I had, whatever they were making videos for me, but taking that beyond that to the point where our entire district had to adapt to what I did in my classroom. That's growth, that's change, and that's disruption.
Yeah, we were talking about challenges, there's a lot of challenges with media. You have to worry about privacy and data and their digital footprint, and TikTok. So welcome back to TikTok. And when we say TikTok, it doesn't mean they actually post it on TikTok. We just make TikTok like Reels. But we were talking about this before. I was on their show, and I love talking about how we need to help the kids to create things that are going to inspire others, help the world, or be more creative and fun, kind of like Zach King. I really get into that kind of stuff. But yeah, and one of the challenges too are video classrooms are very noisy. It's a different type of teaching, and so if you don't have a boss that understands that, you know, you're that classroom, you're that teacher. But that's how it should be. We should be facilitators. This is the way things need to change. And yeah, my classroom's a little nuts, but the challenge that I personally have is I have 28. Oh, my boss isn't watching. Sorry, but 28 kids every class for middle school, and one starts at 1:40, one ends at 1:40. So that literally is my day. So, and it's difficult with the green screen and stuff to manage those class sizes and the way the schedule is. But yeah, so you guys want to talk about?
Well, I kind of want to circle back to that, you know, if you're the lone person in your school, if you anchor your projects to, you know, good lesson design, using your curriculum, good pedagogy, the video product is like a wonderful, like icing on the cake, and really administrators can't argue with that. And honestly, the teacher's facilitator is the model that really needs to be being promoted, and people that are like in the loop of modern world realize that, and they should be horrified when they walk into a classroom and one person's in the front and everyone has a worksheet. They should be horrified. So I guess just like keep on doing it, but ground it in good pedagogy, and you will be fine.
On a pedagogical note as well, I feel like teachers and students really need help understanding the difference between a story and a report. And so you can have a report style video piece that's like 10 facts about ancient Egypt, and I can super fast Google those facts, and I'm not that emotionally invested, and I can quickly choose 10 pictures. And there's something way more powerful if we were to take those 10 facts and embed them and weave them into a story, so that it's really the story of content, and that's what we connect to emotionally. There's so much brain science out there. I had the opportunity to research it for my book, and I just absolutely nerded out over it. But all that brain science is connected to storytelling and the nature of story and the impact that has on us on a human level. So I really think helping teachers understand the difference between story and report can be transformative in the classroom, and that is something that nobody can deny when they walk into your classroom and see what your kids can create.
And I think throwing the brain science, like if you need more stuff for admin, is throwing the brain science. I mean, it goes back to cave paintings 33,000 years ago with cave people telling stories around the campfire. It is built into us as humans. That is how we respond. So you marry that with the brain science, you marry that with UDL. There can't be a lot of argument around that if you kind of have your facts, straight. And you can tell that Jessica and I have done this for a while. So like we know how to get to the people in the ivory towers and sell it in a way that isn't off-putting.
And retention-wise, like once you've contextualized facts within a story, you remember the story. It's our human nature to emotionally relate to content. When you feed them sterile facts that are just isolated and disconnected from emotion, they're fleeting. When you give it to them in the context of a story, they remember it forever. So, well, maybe not forever, but like longer.
Yeah, I'm thinking of what she did today. I did the same thing with food. It's like SpongeBob. He's not just a sponge. He got that, or he is just a sponge. But you think about his personality. He's anxious. He's this, and yeah, it's powerful what you can take things to.
Yeah, come on up. Oh, you got a mic.
Yeah, problem. I just want to go back to like the other standards question is like the state standards, although they're different in all the states. We started in my school going off of leapforeign.com of like what are future skills, and if you take a look at the future skills, digital video hits every single one. And like 10 years ago, creativity was number 9, now it's number 1. So if you go from that vein of just looking at future skills for kids, all 10 of them hit digital video like nothing else. And if you include those with like the state standards, And it even predicts out to, I think, 2030 or 2035, and they're predicting like, these are the skills that kids are gonna need. It's probably more important than somebody in a state department writing out like what the standard is for anything. So I think those are more important, and to show whoever you work for those, to include, you need your state standards, but a lot of them don't really address multimedia. But somebody in a workplace, like creativity is number one, and creativity as a part of this, those are skills that we want every student to have.
Thank you.
Go me.
Thank you. It's a mic ball.
Anybody else had an opportunity to, identify a challenge in introducing multimedia into their classroom and a way that they've been able to overcome it?
You have to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Hi there. My name is John Wick, and just like the movie said, it's a real name. Just have to say that.
John Wick.
What I'm hearing a lot of, and I agree with every single one of these teachers and experts up here, is that I'm hearing the administrators, the Ivory Towers. I am a principal of a kindergarten to 8th grade school, and I agree with them. This is super important, and what I see as the biggest challenge to, using multimedia and video and all of these things in the schools is that it goes beyond just the administrators and the standards and what's happening in your classroom. It goes down to the culture that has been put in place with our entire system. We are looking for, give me a written report, give me something that I could put in and get a numerical answer out, rather than actually understanding that this student knows what they're talking about. And they could do that either as something that's written, they could do that as a video, they could do that as an audio music thing that they're creating, they could do it as a podcast. The limits to what we can actually do are almost, they're out there, they don't end. But we are so narrow-minded, and not just as administrators, but I think even our parents, the parents of the students that are there, I'm sure all of you as teachers have heard this. Oh, well, that's not how I did it. And that was what, 20 years ago? And okay, we're 20 years now. We're going to go 20 years in the future by the time these kids are going to be adults. We're doing them a disservice to be treating them to standards that I'm sorry to say, in some of our states still list VHS tapes as multimedia. Okay, Blockbuster is gone. Okay, we need to be able to say, show me what you need, show me what you know, and do it in a way that you can demonstrate it. I don't care if it's on paper, if you're doing spoken word poetry, if you're doing a podcast, but we need to actually wake up and say, show me what you know. And as educators, as the experts, as people who know what we're doing as teachers and administrators, step outside of all the policy and just get down to, this is all about knowledge. And if we can do that, we might actually make instrumental change for the future.
Go John Wick.
Thank you, John. That was nice.
Good one. The good guy.
I think it leads right into, what does the future look like? What are the next frontiers for bringing multimedia in? Are there aspects to multimedia that are changing, that are really shaping the way you're thinking about your classroom and introducing multimedia? What is really going to come next in this evolution of multimedia in the classroom? Jessica, do you want to start?
Sure. I was just having a conversation with Carl Hooker the other day on a podcast about AI and how that's on everyone's mind. And so I really feel like part of the creative process, especially if it's storytelling related, really kind of is hinging on a student's ability to tell the story their way. And that's something that AI can't really take away from kiddos. I think that we're right to maybe be concerned and looking at AI as in I need to know this now. This is part of my professional landscape. I need to understand how it works. But I don't think we need to be afraid of it. And I think that, that's a conversation we heard a lot today in our sessions at ISTE, was people asking questions about how that interfaces with movie making and storytelling in general. So there's that piece. And then I also think social media is, our kids need better training on how to create positive kind of content to put out there for others to consume.
So with artificial intelligence, okay, I'm gonna plug, shameless plug, the AI classroom. It's on Amazon, you can get it there, but like, just in the last, gosh, it's November, every advancement in AI is almost moot and like old school a month later. There was just an entire film created with AI. And I think we're in an exciting time where skills are becoming more accessible, that students are going to have access to communicating their ideas, their creativity. And a lot of people want to say that it's cheating when a student uses ChatGPT in the classroom to write something. Is it cheating when they use this to create a movie or a film? I say no, because, well, to some degree, it's a murky little gray field. But I think it's going to make a shift in how we focus on what we value versus what we assess. What do we value? What do we want our students to take away from this? What do we want them to learn? What are the soft skills? What is the content? What are the standards? What is the mastery that's going to make them successful after they leave school? And I think if we focus on that versus the end product as a result, then there's going to be a shift in paradigm. And we are going to be focusing on the right things versus the fear of new technology.
You got it. It's all based on fear. Everything new is. Changes in our life are based on fear. Yeah, and I had my eyes open up big time. We just hosted the Week of AI, and I tried it out. I tried a piece of AI for every step of the video production process, and it was fascinating. We don't have time to go into it too much, but it actually helped my kids' creativity soar because it gave them the confidence that their ideas were good. So they actually came up with some ideas, and then we used AI to figure it out. But it was way beyond ChatGPT. I mean, there's so many cool ways you can use it for the music, for their backgrounds, for even the video backgrounds. It's just endless what we came up with. But another thing with the future, I was telling these ladies all about an idea, and I'll laugh if my superintendent's watching because I'm basically asking him for this. Please, Josh, Dr. Badala. Anyway, I work at the public TV station in Peabody, Massachusetts, part-time, doing green screen workshops and teaching video production and real equipment. And we just see this place. It's like ridiculous for me. I walk in there, my heart's just so excited. And anyway, so I had a big dream about this. I'm like, we should do this for the district and the community. So I proposed an idea, and I think this would be really neat for schools everywhere to use the TV stations in your local towns to have a talk show. I think like Kelly Clarkson show, because I asked them, can we get couches? So, yes. Where you interview teachers and highlight teachers and students around the district and administrators, and even have the cosmetology students at the high school do the hair and makeup, just to celebrate people. But beyond that, have a bunch of channels like a kids game show where you have the kids we have MCAS as our thing, so have testing questions and have real live game shows. Bring the TV van out to the schools and highlight each school. Pick a school and highlight all they do, and having kid anchors. The ideas are just endless of what you can do. But my favorite is the community. We have in our community, every community, adults with Down syndrome that we want to do some community work with and do some fun videos and I don't know. I'm getting very excited about it. But like I feel like video production in the future could really bring communities together. I mean, we could highlight every single educator and student in that district, whether it's just their artwork on TV or them. So thank you for letting me tell you that story.
Thank you. Anybody else have, yeah. Actually, can we do yes one? It might be easier. Yeah.
Well, one thing I really need to do, and Erica, you hit the nail on the head, we have got to get industry in our schools starting at kindergarten.
Yes.
We have got to start making career tech ed from kindergarten all the way through kindergarten. I mean, the seniors are, this kindergarten is more homeless than they like to play, and play is important. But with the seniors in high school going on to college,
We've got to bridge that gap and get the career pieces going. Instead of teaching them how to write a sentence, put that sentence into maker stations and things inside the classroom that bring that into their real lives. My mentioned AI. AI is going to be their world. I always tell my students, the worst tech you will ever have is sitting right in front of you right now. I said, the sad part for me is the best tech I have in my life is just about at the end of where my life is going to be. It's only going to get better. And if we don't teach them to embrace it properly with proper digital citizenship and somehow get our communities to start enforcing proper digital citizenship with the parents and the grandparents that we missed with teaching them proper use of these tools, that will only help what's going to happen with their future. Because my daughter is an independent film producer in Hollywood. And the SAG group that's out there right now is on strike because of the fears of AI, because that will reduce the amount of writers on a series. They want to minimize the amount of actual humans in the production of movies and TV series and streaming information, which that's key. But what doors are going to open up when that starts minimizing? But how are we preparing them for that pivot too? Because they're the age we are. And pivoting is really hard as you get older and being more flexible with your thinking. So that flexibility piece, and that's what video and multimedia teaches you, is really how to be flexible with your thinking.
Thank you, Gwen.
Woohoo! That was good.
I hope this conversation has inspired you. I want to give a little bit of time for anybody else who has questions related to multimedia. We have this amazing panel at your disposal, and they obviously have a lot of experience introducing multimedia into their classrooms and into the curriculum for their districts. Any questions from any of you that you'd like to ask the panel before we lose this group being up here?
Come on.
Just contact information to get in touch.
There will be time at the end. I hope you guys will introduce yourselves to each other. This is as much networking as it is an opportunity to kind of begin this conversation. I hope it continues beyond this room. So absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi everyone. I'm Julie Jager. I am a 42-year veteran educator, now retired. I would say 41.75 of those years I had to have my door closed. And that was because we were doing exactly what you're talking about. We were, in many eyes, playing, and what we were doing was exploring. I just want to probably reflect on a little bit of everyone has said, because it's all so very important. For me, moving my students into any type of video production, and we were doing it before there was anything called a video production program, pre the first Apple one that came out. It's empowering. It has brought my students and the teachers I worked with to a level of higher order critical creative thinking they did not know was possible. And working with teachers, when we do things like nonfiction narratives, and we have a math teacher creating a story for his students to introduce the value of X, because X used to know that its job was to combine things and make more, and now he's having an identity crisis because he does not know what he's going to be from problem to problem. And that's exactly, and he had no idea what doing a nonfiction narrative was.
That needs to be a book.
Yeah. And it should be a book.
I'll partner it with you.
And then another young fourth grade student I had who came to me when we were doing our first nonfiction and said, I want to do granite. I went, okay, granite. Well, they had just put granite countertops in. And I said, okay, so they did their research, because what we did with this is they did the report, Jessica, as a first person narrative from the item, whether it was granite, whether it was the nail in a tree or whatever, and spoke as what that particular item was feeling, seeing, thinking, whatever. And so her first line, this is a fourth grader, it seems just like yesterday, I was but a wee bit of magma in my mother's eye. She went on to tell us about the metamorphosis and how this became granite, and it ended up in her kitchen as granite countertops.
Oh.
Now, what does that tell you about empowering kids to take what they have learned, bring in that information, whether it's science, math, social studies? I have so many, I could go on and on. But for me, I would just graciously close my door and allow my students to explore. Because the more they did, the more they wanted to do, and therefore the more they wanted to learn. So thank you all for saying everything that needs to be said. And I just had to put a big exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, because this is where it's at. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yay.
To all the teachers out there, please don't close your door. Leave it wide open, invite those teachers in, have your principals come in, especially your coworkers. That's what needs to happen. Your principals really want to see innovation going on at their school. They just don't know how to ignite that fire, and the only way it's going to ignite is by people opening their door, letting their coworkers come in and see all the wonderful things going on.
Last chance?
Yeah. This is Heather Brown again, and I'm the one who's putting up the comments on the live stream. And I couldn't help notice, but someone kept mentioning that, you know, with math, those math teachers don't think that you can do these things. Well, I am that loud teacher that echoes down the hall, and seriously, teachers peek in when they go by my room to see what the heck I'm doing. I am that loud, crazy teacher, and I have kids who have purposely tried to completely bomb their diagnostic testing because they want to be in my room, which it kind of defeats purpose. But even if you're in math, you can do those crazy things. And it gets the kids engaged. It lights a fire in them. And if they can do it in math, yeah, they can do it in anything. And math should be just as fun as any other subject.
I want to, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just have one quick observation. As from teaching coding, we hear that there are no females who do coding, and it's 99% males. And look who we have in front of us. Like the glass ceiling is broken in a terrific way here. You're a great educator. You're a great educator. And it's not male, female, and I think it speaks a lot that everybody up there is female, and you know, there's not one male teacher up there when we're told forever, you know, girls can't do it, girls can't do it. Well, obviously they can.
Yeah, nice. Nice, thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for all the thoughtful work you did even to prepare for this, for all the contributions you've made to this conversation. I do hope that we continue this conversation long after ISTE. Take away these stories, bring them back to your classrooms and to your school districts, connect with everybody who's here. We do have a little bit more time, so please also enjoy yourself. We're going to have more music. Hope you guys will have an opportunity to get to know each other, introduce yourself to your neighbor that you don't know. But please join me in giving one round of thanks to this amazing panel. Thank you. It was fun. This is fun for me. I like hosting because I have amazing people up here. So, yeah. Thank you so much, you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your participation. Have a good night, you guys.